So last weekend I was in Brussels, just visiting the city. Nice city, by the way, nice looking city. You should absolutely go visit if you have the chance. But anyway, while being there, we saw these groups of Syrian people, or at least these people waving Syrian flags. They also had the country colors on their clothes. They seemed pretty excited. You know, they were cheering, they were handing out some food, they were singing, and they clearly seemed happy about something. Now, at first, I didn't make the connection because I was just there trying to have some quality time with my girlfriend, being detached completely from anything political, anything geopolitical. But of course, very soon it hit me, Assad is gone. So the rebel groups, let's call them that, they defeated Assad. Assad is gone. Assad himself reportedly now is in Russia, and the government is no longer. Now, apparently these people were very happy about that. This was going on in Brussels, but I imagine very similar scenes all across Europe and possibly also in other parts of the world, but especially in Europe, because of course Europe has taken in a lot of Syrian refugees. So many Syrians, I'm not saying all Syrians, but many Syrians are very happy that Assad is gone. I wonder though, do these people fully realize what this actually means for the country? What this means for the future of Syria? Well, I of course don't know what will happen in the future, but I do know this, that getting rid of Assad has been a goal of the United States for a very, very long time, for decades. And they've literally tried everything to achieve that. They've tried bombing the country. They've been bombing the country for years, for decades. They've tried sanctioning the country, which, of course, like always, is going to affect the most vulnerable people in the country, but they did it. They sanctioned the country. They even occupied certain areas of the country, especially those areas that have the oil. And I've been told that the US also stole a little bit of oil from Syria. And in the end, you know, it seems like they also collaborated, I'm putting it very mildly, with some terrorist groups, you know, some groups that are on the the US terrorist lists. So they apparently unleashed these groups into Syria, and they did it. They got rid of Assad. And, you know, basically they did a successful regime change operation. It took them a little while, but they did it. Now, here's the thing. Is it just me, or does it seem like whenever the US and some of its allies gets involved into any country, especially when it's about a regime change operation, then that country is basically doomed? Is it just me? I mean, take a look at what happened to Iraq, for example. I mean, the US started falsely accusing Iraq of some crimes. They invaded the country, a sovereign country, by the way, just saying. They invaded the country under false pretenses, weapons of mass destruction, remember? They started bombing the country. They killed just a few people, just about 1 million Iraqis got killed. You could call that collateral damage. I mean, they basically destroyed the entire country. Take a look at what happened to Libya. I mean, Libya used to be one of the wealthiest countries in the region, and possibly maybe even one of the wealthiest countries, potentially one of the wealthiest countries in the world. That is, until the US stepped in. The US and some of its allies intervened, and now look at Libya. You know, it's been in turmoil ever since. And of course, take a look at what's been happening in Ukraine. I mean, ever since the West started to meddle in Ukraine, take a look at what's been happening to that country. And you can say about this war whatever you want, who started it, who's to blame for it. One thing is absolutely clear, that this is a direct result of Western interference. It seems like the United States is very good at convincing people that it might be a very good idea to go against their own government and to even help overthrow their own government. You know, the United States is very good at convincing people to do that. And they always sell their story, their narrative with the same excuse. Always about democracy, fighting for democracy, defending democracy, when in reality they're destroying countries. And we've seen this play out over and over again so many times when the US and some of its allies get involved. So I don't know if I would be this happy right now if I was Syrian. Because just take a look at the state of the country right now. I mean, yes, Assad is gone. That, you know, many Syrians are happy about that. But the country is still overrun with all these different groups with all different interests. So you have all these different terrorist groups running around. The Turks are still involved. Israel is still very much involved, already illegally claiming Syrian land. Iran probably still somewhat involved. Russia is still somewhat involved. Of course, you still have the Americans being there. The difference is that now that Assad is gone, there's no central government with any kind of authority. So how else could this continue than in absolute chaos? Now, of course, I very much hope for the sake of the country of Syria, and especially for the people of Syria who already have been through so much, that something really good comes out of this situation, that there is some kind of silver lining here. But to be perfectly honest, right now, I'm not very optimistic.